Okay. Just, I guess say in chat if you can make sure you can see everything, I guess. Make sure. Okay. I checked just to make sure I'm recording my thing. But yeah, awesome. Everyone sees it. Yay! Awesome. I'm gonna give at least everyone some time to at least pop in, just to make sure anyone who wants to be here is here. If they come later on, it's fine. No big deal. I am recording it like I did last year. Alrighty. Alright, good stuff. Good stuff. Awesome. Glad everyone can see at least my stuff. But yeah, no. As I kind of said before here at my booth, I am in the middle of moving, so like, forgive me if like my audio sounds strange and stuff too. It's been hectic lately. All right, good. Wow. Oh. Yeah. Sorry if you hear my one roommate though in the back. It's all good. All right. You can check my room if you want. But yeah, I'm gonna make sure everyone can at least get in here. Alright, So almost everyone who is here, I might give it at least maybe like another minute or so. Just to keep people coming in at least, though I'm not gonna start just yet. Alright, awesome. Everyone okay? Alrighty. I'll give one more minute though, just in case, because I have some time to kill anyway. Oh god, my teammate from Velvet Turtles here.
Hello. Hello there.
Shut up. Alright, Scram, go get pizza. Alright, anyways. Alright. So, now that I feel like almost everyone who is going to be here is here, again, I will be recording this. But yeah, might as well get it started though for now. So, welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time for my panel. This is Rare Persona Media with me, Feather, again, because they can't seem to get rid of me here at Personacon, and I keep showing up even though I'm, busy with work, but hey, I don't mind coming around here. Alright, let's get started with another introduction. Hi, my name is Feather. My pronouns are she, they. I am a computer animator and artist, and also a hobbyist cosplayer and content creator who's kind of more new to the Persona scene. I had to kind of take a break in 2024 due to some mental health, but I'm so glad to be back making content. Shout out to my shout out to my Persona stage play video. If you are on my YouTube channel, you should definitely go check it out. I put in so much effort into it, and I'm so glad it's out. I was first introduced to Persona in around 2017-ish, and I started playing in 2020 with Persona 4 Golden. So that's at least where I'm at in fandom. You can find me anywhere as the username Feather55160, like always. Also, check out my booth if you want to go to Artist Alley, because Personacon said, hey, you get the go-ahead for Artist Alley, and I'm so hyped. But yeah, if you want some cool art, like you see the one talk sprite there in the side, yeah, definitely go check me out. Alrighty. Now, we're going to go through the disclaimer and rules again. If you guys know from last year, that's cool, but just to give a refresher for everyone here, most of the media or info that I have in this panel is based off fan translations, and some of it is also based off of the Megami Tensei wiki, which is kind of fickle a little bit with this information though, but I was able to find at least some sources outside of that, luckily at least. I also don't really want to see in the chat of, oh, this isn't rare media or that isn't this. Not everyone is familiar with a lot of these pieces of media, but giving any of these the time of day to, be seen in any way is very nice to see. And I just like to also present things that people may not know. And there's nothing wrong if you know it though too. Next one is, I'm going to keep spoilers as vague as possible for the entire Persona series, but if there's an accidental spoiler, I will try my best to prevent that from happening. But again, you are warned though, but gonna keep everything vague as much as I can. Some topics won't be featured because I probably already covered them either here at my previous last year's panel, or I plan on covering them in an actual video though too. So if you don't see some things here, that's probably why. Feel free to drop like suggestions at all in my chat here too at Rare Persona Media while you're watching if you want to see something get covered. Alrighty, let's head into my rules. Again, like last year, I am limiting myself to one piece of Rare Persona Media per game. This is mainly just so I don't go off topic for whatever reason. But I do have bonus entries if time allows, which it looks like it will. So we'll see how far we can get. My other rules, it has to be officially licensed by Atlus. So unfortunately, no fan content. Maybe one year I'll do like rare fan content from Persona. So who knows? We'll see. Also, again, my classic rule of no Trinity Soul. Still, we are not covering Trinity Soul. Do not come in expecting Trinity Soul to show up, because it won't. But yeah. Alright. Now that we've established my rules, are we about to get started? I think we're all good to get started, I think. Alright. Okay. No, we're not talking, no, do not mention Trinity Soul. Nope. I have beef with that, though, eternally, though, but I don't want to get into that because this is about rare media. That's not Trinity Soul. Alright, enough Trinity Soul shade. Let's get into it. First, we have Persona 1 novel. Known as Megami Inbokurou Persona Shadow Maze. It is a novel that was released on May 14th, 1997. And it's, as for what it's about, it is about, it focuses on Maki's POV during the events of Persona 1. Now, I can't really go much further into this because I haven't played Persona 1, unfortunately. I might try to get my hands on the PSP like copy at some point, but we'll try to get there, but I have not personally played it, so I can't exactly commentate on much about this novel. The reason why is because, according to a lot of resources I've seen online, it does require that you've played Persona 1 to fully understand what's going on, since it is in Maki's POV, and from my understanding of the game, you don't really see her perspective, so it's kind of important to play at least the first game, or maybe even read the manga. I'm not entirely sure if you can get away with reading the manga, but it does rely on your prior knowledge to what happens exactly in Persona 1 before you read this. And speaking of which, there are fan translations available. I was able to find one on tumblr.com. This one person who translated it, but some of it may be a little finicky because English isn't their first language, but the fan translation is definitely out there for any Persona 1 fans who want to engage with Persona 1's story. Alright, next one up, we got Persona 2 spin-off manga. Now, I realized this before my panel, a kind of up-and-coming SMT content creator actually did a video on this, like, literally, like, almost a week before Personacon, so I'm, like, trying not to watch it. By the way, that content creator, shout out to Twigs, he's been making a really awesome, like, Persona content, but, this does not, any of the information in that video does not impact this slide at all whatsoever, but I just wanted to give a shout out to Twigs for sure about covering this content because it's really cool to see Persona 2 get some love and attention, especially this manga. So this is known as Persona Crime and Punishment, and its original run was from December 2000 to December 2001. One thing that's kind of weird to note is that from the original run, it has an official run in French. Whether, I'm not sure if it was in like actual, like, the country of, like, France, or, like, in, like, French-Canadian release. I'm not too sure because I haven't gotten a good look at the release. But the fact that it had a French release is insane to me. Not even an English release. But there was a rerun in April 5th, 2011. It basically condensed what was 3 volumes into 2 volumes to tie into the release of the PSP re-release of Persona 2, Innocent Sin and Eternal Punishment. As for the plot of the manga, it takes place around 6 to 12 months before the events of Eternal Punishment, so it is post Innocent Sin. So if you do plan on interacting with this manga by any means, you have to play Innocent Sin first, and then you read this, then Eternal Punishment, if you'd like to see that, though. But yeah, no, it actually, to go back to this, it's really interesting that it got a semi-recent re-release, though, but also, to be fair, the PSP re-release for Persona 2 isn't exactly that old, though, if you think about it, though, for when it got released, though. There's probably quite a few manga weren't released. Oh, that's interesting, actually. Huh. Alright, sorry, reading the chat, though, too. It does have a new protagonist known as Kazumi Kaiba, or Kiba. Not sure. Probably not Kaiba, because that's Yu-Gi-Oh! That's different. But that's the person that you see in actually these manga covers. That's the main protagonist, and also their persona, though, too. As it probably implied, that there are fan translations actually available for the re-release and the current one, though, too. Yeah, no, he is basically Tatsuya with short hair, and from my reading, he's not that far off from Tatsuya, but minus some of the things that happen in Eternal Punishment to him, if you know what I'm saying, guys. By the way, play Persona 2. It's actually really good. If you emulate it, you can fast forward it, so the fights don't take too long. But you didn't hear it from me, alright, guys? We're not talking about rare Yu-Gi-Oh! Dragon, stop! We're not talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! I would have to get a different person to help do that. Probably you. I'm sorry. I think JoJo has an official friends released long before the other regions. That's actually interesting to think about, though, is that, other countries outside of, English releases, getting other, language releases before even English has a chance to touch it at all. So that's really cool. Alright. Alright, emulation. You say, yeah, no, legally, I'm not advocating for emulation, but... What am I doing? But yeah. Anyways, alright, let's move on to the next part of the panel. Next is Persona 3 mobile games. Now, I expect at least some people to know maybe 1 or 2 of them, dare I say, but this is only going to be I'm only going to be talking about so many of them, but we do have a lost media element. You can take it off of your bingo cards. There is lost media elements to these mobile games. So to start off, I expect people to know the first thing I'm covering because it's gotten so much more attention, but to set the tone, essentially, for what I'm trying to convey, is the game Aegis the First Mission. Basically, this game is about Aegis's first activation set 10 years before the events of Persona 3. And the title is pretty self-explanatory, is that this is her first mission. And you actually get to see some characters from the main Persona 3 story that get fleshed out more because of this game. And initially, it was released on mobile phones, but recently a re-release happened on the Switch and PC, and it literally came out a year ago today. I'm not joking. As of this panel happening right now on June 6th, it's been a year since you can finally access Aegis the First Mission in an official capacity that's not through a YouTube video with YouTube captions on. It is no longer lost media. It has been no longer lost media as of last year, and I am proud to say that, though, too. And you can watch it in an official capacity or interact with it, though, which is very important to me as someone who wants to be able to interact with media like this in the way as it was intended, maybe not through a phone, but it is accessible nonetheless. As, again, lost media has been not well preserved because of whether it be Internet Archive actually hitting in some legal trouble, but the accessibility of media like lost media is very important, and I want to state that right now, because of fan outcry is the reason why Aegis the First Mission is now playable finally after I think about maybe almost 15 years, dare I say. So preservation is very much important. If you don't think it's important, preserve it nonetheless. Now next to another Persona 3 mobile game is Persona 3 EM. Now I don't really know how to pronounce this title because, again, most of these mobile games are region locked to Japan, so you can't really access them, but through other methods you can. But Persona 3 EM is basically a side story set during the Yakushima trip in main P3, and where the C's team experiences a thing called the Nightmare Hour, and they have to traverse a new dungeon-like area called Onios or Orios at least. So basically, this is essentially a separate thing of Dark Hour and Tartarus, as pretty blatantly seen. Yeah, Oreos. Yeah, they have to traverse through Oreos. Yeah, obviously. But yeah, no. One thing that's actually worth noting for P3EM is that this is actually where a social link for Junpei and Akihiko first happened before Persona 3 Portable even came out. So when people say, oh, P3P was the first one to have social links for the male characters in P3, that's actually wrong. It's actually Persona 3 EM. So either you could be annoying about this in trivia later on, but yeah. But as someone stated in the chat before, a lot of these mobile games are actually lost media, though, too. I mean, we're lucky enough that we even got access to IGIS, though, too. But one thing to be noted, if Final Fantasy could get their mobile games re-released, Crisis Core, then Persona could definitely get theirs re-released. Let's be for real. But yeah, next we have our final mobile game that I'm going to be covering is Persona 3 Social. Now, this one was a free-to-play Persona 3 MMO that was developed for both mobile phones and iPhones. So this one kind of came out around P3P's lifespan after it came out, as you can tell by the updated artwork and also very similar iconography to P3P, which is my favorite Persona game, ever. Same team released Persona 1 Lost Media phone game before episode IGIS too. Oh yeah, that's interesting, because actually a lot of Persona related media kind of came out obviously before IGIS though, but in terms of phone media, it's always kind of been there. But yeah, no, it's a very interesting subject matter. Maybe I'll develop it, maybe I'll dive into it a little bit more into a panel, maybe next year, who knows. And as I probably implied before, there are many, many more Persona 3 related mobile games that are not just these three. There's a huge treasure trove. There's at least, I think, 7 more Persona 3 solely focused mobile games or PC tie-ins, anything like that that's not, connected to main P3, actually. The second Squeakle, yeah, this is kind of like the Squeakle for being for real, but actually good and better than the Squeakle, hot take. For someone does have an English patch translation. No, yeah, I know fans have been translating the Persona 1 and even Persona 2 stuff, though, so shout out to them for making that more accessible, though, too, because the preservation of media is very important to someone like me. But yeah, I think next we should be good to move on to the next thing. Next we have Persona 4 drama CDs. Now, unlike P3, this actually only has, P4 only has 7 audio dramas, which is very interesting in comparison to P3's, where they have 12. Audio dramas. As you can see, one probably got a little bit more love than P4, but P4 lacking in something for once. I think they should make more audio dramas. They're actually kind of cute. And these dramas, like other audio dramas for different anime, manga, or even video games like Persona, usually these dramas focus on each of the characters and how they kind of interact with one another. They're kind of more just audio-based plays in a way. There is a Soyo drama. that's actually a tie-in for the Persona 4 animation. If you do like audio dramas, they're really fun to listen to. One I liked I'd say listen in quotation marks, though, might I mind you, was one other thing. But to tie into what the plot is, most of them are kind of based around outings with Nanako. So Nanako's a very frequent character that shows up, rightfully so, because Nanako's one of the best characters, I dare I say, in Persona 4. So if you're a kind of investigation team plus Nanako fan, Definitely check these out. These ones are actually really cool. But back to my topic of which one's actually like a personal favorite of mine, or where I think you could probably start out with, is Persona 4 Golden Drama CD Volume 1, which is seen at the very bottom of the screen. It's a personal favorite. As for like kind of what the plot is, it's about like the investigation team finding cats and also finding homes for like missing cats, or like finding cats in general. It's basically investigation team and cats, and I love cats and I love P4, so like seeing them combined is actually really cute though to see. Yeah, so if you like seeing the investigation team like wrangle around kittens and stuff, this drama's really for you. This one thing that is kind of unfortunate about these dramas is that they're not really as well known as the P3 ones, because these are actually partially translated into English. Now, all of them are at least on YouTube. Like, they're at least all on YouTube. Like, you can still listen to them, but there's no English subtitles in the actual videos. They're actually just all in Japanese. So if you like were to click on closed captions, like if you were to do for the P3 ones, nothing English comes up because it's all Japanese. But to accompany this, though, if you do want to engage with these drama CDs, there's actually English transcripts on, for surprisingly, for showing up for like the first time in maybe 20 years, LiveJournal. You can like listen to them while also like seeing the LiveJournal transcript go by. It's really funny though. That's how I actually interacted with the drama CD though too. Either you could listen to the pure Japanese audio if you actually understand the complexities of the language, or at least know the language in general. But I highly recommend, if you can read it, read these English translators that are on LiveJournal and even on Tumblr though too. But the fact that LiveJournal, yeah, no, if anyone in chat can get the links, send them in. I could also send them at post the panel, but yeah, it's actually it's very like interesting though too. But I also wanted this to be like a cry for help, and please get these like subtitled though too, because I wouldn't mind like, you know, having them have the same amount of love as the P3 audio dramas. But yeah, can't even understand English. Sweaty face? Dude, I'm a native English speaker and I can barely speak my own language. The pinnacle of internet history. Yeah, no, if you want to see some actual like peak internet stuff, go on LiveJournal for like a little bit though. And also, people are still active on LiveJournal, might I mind you. I like found that out while also researching this topic. It's kind of funny. Yeah. It's actually... But yeah, no, give these audio dramas definitely some love though too, because we're really hitting into some obscure territory. Alrighty. Next, we have good old Persona 5. Now, as I said last year, and I'm going to say this again, myself and many others have deemed Persona 5 to be the most well-documented Persona-related game in its history, because due to the fact that it literally is a global, worldwide seller for this game. So kind of finding something kind of rare-ish relating to Persona 5 is kind of tough. But I wanted to like either probably reintroduce to you to Persona 5 Breakers. Now, this is kind of a two-part thing, but bear with me. So the first one is Persona 5 the animation, the Daybreakers. Now, some of you guys may be scared when I say Persona 5 animation. So, but this one, don't worry. Anyone who's been traumatized by, you know, P5 animation, this is an actually good thing. Do not send that gift to Dragon now. Dragon's sending the bad all-out attack that they did to the animation, because it's rough. It's so bad. But this one's actually a good adaptation. So if you want to have Persona 5 in a good, you know, looking animation state, this is the thing for you. This is actually an OVA released on September 3rd, 2016. This date is actually really interesting because that's around a week or two before the actual Persona 5 game came out in Japan. So if anything, this OVA, yes, is like a commercial, but it's a really damn good commercial. Why do you ask? Because it covers a Mementos request, actually, which is something that the actual Persona 5 anime didn't actually go into a whole lot, into the Mementos quests. It's based off of Phantom Thieves versus the Burglary Ring. Anyone who's actually, played Persona 5 or watched a YouTube video, let's be real. No shame to anyone who has, experienced P5 through YouTube videos. Just wanted to point that out. It's a very effective way to intrigue people who don't know P5's core outside of trailers to show what the Phantom Thieves are actually about. And this animation actually features some early on versions of the Phantom Thieves that doesn't really get talked about in the actual games because there's actually a lot of content when it relates to P5. One of them notably being, I would say, Ann's eye color, because sometimes her eye color changes to green randomly because I guess she was meant to have green eyes. Makoto isn't really featured a whole lot, though, because, especially, in the vanilla intro, Makoto, Haru, and Futaba isn't really seen much because their characters weren't really fleshed out by the time that intro was actually in production. Vanilla P5, watching YouTube. Yeah, no. Very, very good, very valid. But again, I will say, someone's microphone by the looks of it. I would say, period, this is the best P5 animation, as I emphasized before. Oh. I might need this person to be muted, please, and thank you. Sorry about that. Just wanted to make sure. But yeah, so, again, this is the best P5 animation anything, let's be real, as you've been seeing by some of the horrendous gifs in the chat of just gore of my boy Ryuji Sakamoto. But yeah, next on to the next part of P5 Breakers, we have Persona 5, the Night Breakers. Now, this is a very interesting case for Night Breakers, is that this is a drama CD released on December 7th, 2016. And future re-releases and any other releases of Persona 5, the Daybreakers is actually bundled with Night Breakers included. As for kind of what Night Breakers is about, is that it's a continuation of where the Daybreakers kind of left off, and it actually fleshes out characters like Haru, Makoto, and Futaba more in the story, though, too. Granted, this is also before Akechi actually joins the Phantom Thieves, if I were to, pinpoint a part in the timeline, but it's actually really cool to see Makoto, Haru, and Futaba actually get some love when it comes to really early on Persona 5 material. But Nightbreakers... Yeah, no. A very interesting thing of, you go from Daybreakers to Nightbreakers. I wonder what else is next. They should do Duskbreakers, dare I say. But Goro mentioned, but yeah, no. It's all good. It's all good if you weren't muted. It's alright. But yeah, no. Next, I'm realizing we got enough time. You guys ready for some bonus rounds? I need afternoon breakers, actually. That was me this morning at work, though. I did break in the afternoon and left, and I didn't show back up, but I clocked out. It's fine. It's fine. Yes. Persona and Atlus, very, very smart with their title title naming, because they're great at what they do. But yeah, let's get into some bonus material, guys, because we got some time. Alright. Anyways, if you remember last year, the staff really liked spamming this one audio clip. Let's go gambling. We're not actually going gambling, guys, don't worry. But you guys may remember last year of Let's Go Gambling. So I took that and ran with it. And it turns out Persona has a lot of connections to gambling outside of Sai's Palace, okay? Outside of Sai's Palace, gambling does exist. For some reason. But we're starting off with Persona 3 Pachinko Machine. Now, with this, it is a pinball/slot machine, or Pechi slot. To go into a really quick history lesson about Japan. Japan has very strict gambling laws. But one of the ways that they can kind of toe the line and kind of is a way to work around those gambling laws is that pachinko machines are very popular in Japan, and it's one of the only legal ways to actually gamble in the country. So when I say Pachinko is one of those balls with the little pegs and the little ball that gets dropped down. But Persona 3, when it's this machine, there's a pinball element to it, though. There's ways you can kind of gamify it while still also not advocating for actual gambling, because gambling is very much frowned upon in Japanese culture. So this is a workaround, basically. Can't wait to gamble away my my money to the Persona 3 slot machine. But now back to it. The original cast actually came back to record for the slot machine, which is crazy to think about, is that you would reunite the cast, not for just, like a movie, which they did, or anything else. No, we gotta get the whole cast together for the slot machine, basically. It's kind of funny. But yeah, one thing that also is very interesting, that not only with the original cast returning, they also have an official, song that Yumi Kawamura recorded for it. I'm not gonna, attempt to pronounce the name of the song, but no joke, dare I say, it's one of the best Persona 3 songs that Yumi has recorded for Persona 3, as she was the P3 vocalist, before the new one for Reload. It's a banger. I'm not joking. For the gambling machine has a banger soundtrack. My advice, go gambling, I guess. So, gambling saves lives. Remember, guys, 90% of gamblers quit before they win big. Don't actually gamble, guys. Please be careful with your money, and also spend it at Artist Alley instead, maybe. Who knows? Now, going back to gambling, we have Persona 4, the slots. So, this is also a pachinko slot machine, much like how you'll see these all in this panel. One of the things that's kind of interesting about this slot machine is that you can play any of the main characters, so any investigation team, according to my research, you can actually play as them. If I have somehow access to this machine, I would play as Naoto, and solely Naoto, because I'm obsessed. And if you've seen my character, I have his hat. But yeah, Persona 4 the slot's not really worthy of noting, but there is one that is a little bit more noteworthy when it comes to Persona 4 and gambling. The Persona 4, the Pachinko. It is a solely Pachinko version of Persona 4 the slot, basically. Now, it is a continuous battle type. Essentially what that means is that you go through battle after battle after battle till you run out of credits, essentially. And you can gain more credits by, hitting multiplies and stuff like that, and depending on how well you land good in Pachinko, that's how you would continuously do a battle run. A lot of Pachinko machines that you'll see do this continuous battle mode, basically. One thing I also like to note is that there's original art and animation footage solely for this release for Persona Pachinko. So there's actually just fresh cutscenes, there's fresh art. If you like the shadows, they get full screen spreads of artwork of just the shadow, and it's so cool to see that. If you are on my Twitter account, you may notice my background art for my Twitter profile is that it's of Shadow Naoto. That's actually from the Persona 4 Pachinko, if you don't know. Next we have, I'm not joking when I say this name, Persona 5 for Reals. This is an actual, name, because Atlus is great at naming things. We're gonna ignore why it's called For Reals. But it is not a pachinko slot, actually. There is a pachinko slot version of Persona 5, but like Persona 4 the slot, it's not really worth noting, but this has nothing to do with that. That thing I said before about all these machines being pachinko slot, I technically lied, because we're talking about Persona 5 for Reals. Now, this is a video-based slot machine. What that means is a giant screen, and there's slots. So if you see those videos of those boomers tapping the, screen, like it's a giant iPad, that's what Persona 5 for Reals is basically. But you actually don't touch it, basically. You're not supposed to touch the screens. Reason why I'm noting this so much, and I'm emphasizing Persona 5 for Reals a lot in this panel, is that it had a worldwide release. Yes, it is in some US casinos, as seen viral on Twitter, Blue Sky, and any social media relating to Persona. There is an actual Persona 5 slot machine in Vegas. Now, this is weird to note because Persona 5 and gambling is kind of awkward because they're kind of anti-gambling in Size Palace in the game, which is kind of weird to think that Persona 5 has an actual slot machine. It needs more maximum. Yeah, no, there's a thing on TikTok that actually went viral of someone running the Persona 5 slot machine. And now what's in my brain is there's probably someone's, like, dad, maybe someone's grandpa, hitting up the Persona 5 slot machine, not knowing who any of these anime characters are. I think it's funny to think about. Someone draw fan art of that. If not, I'll get to it. But for anyone who doesn't have access to a casino or wants to go to a casino, there is an app version of it. I'm not encouraging you to download it, but there is an app of it so you can get your gambling fix. I mean, I guess Persona 5X is technically gambling. I'm not referring to that app, actually, surprisingly, however, but actual Persona 5 for reals does have an app. Also, you should play Persona 5X. I'm excited for it personally, so I'm gonna play it, but I'm not gonna throw money at it. I will say. I'll probably eat those words if I do end up actually spending money. But yeah, that's Persona and gambling, and its weird relationship with how it skirts the gambling laws in Japan. Yeah, imagine being a free-to-play gacha player. Yeah, no, these people that you see in this gif of Let's Go Gambling, they're actually playing Persona 5 slot. Let's be real. Alright, now on to the next topic, and probably one of my personal favorites, actually. We got Persona commercials. Now, from the years of 1996 to current day, Persona has commercials, obviously. There's at least one commercial per game that exists in Persona's library and even SMT. Shout out to the one SMT mention I'm gonna do in this panel. But one thing I do have to note is that most of these are Japanese commercials. So if you know Japanese commercials and, like, you know what they kind of are, like, kind of known for, seeing the Persona commercials is actually kind of fascinating, though, too, I will admit. A lot of commercials are kind of hard to find in the West. Maybe Lost Media, down to number 2. Number 2 Lost Media mention. Maybe there might be some Lost Western commercials. Who knows? But again, most of these ones that I'll actually be talking about are Japanese-based, I will have to say. I will actually be showing you 3 commercials that I think stand out to me the most when it comes to covering Persona commercials, because I can't really, like, capture in just images. I almost have to just show them to you, actually. First, we got Persona 1, one of the first Persona commercials actually from 1996. This other one is a Persona 4 commercial, and a lot of people have kind of estimated that this commercial aired around 2007. When we get to it, you'll see what I mean. And finally, we have a Persona 5 commercial from 2016. So speaking of which, now let's get into actually showing you these commercials. Here we have Megami Inbokuru Persona, which is Persona 1 in Japanese, from 1996.
もしも僕が悪魔でも友達でいてくれますか
悪魔青春 RPG ペルソナアトラス
もしも私が悪魔でも好きと言ってくれますか
悪魔青春 RPG ペルソナアト
But yeah, since these commercials are actually so short, there's technically 2 of them. What I like the most about this commercial actually is that they use practical effects and they use practical actual real costumes. So Atlus definitely commissioned a company to make the school uniforms, even down to the actual, like, one Persona costume that's actually seen in this commercial. It is a very much Japanese commercial. You really can't dub this into the West by any means, but it's very cool to see real life Persona. Another one that's worth noting that I can't show, unfortunately, is the Persona 2 commercials. They are done in a very similar style to these Persona 1 commercials, actually. But yeah, now on to the next one. Sorry, this is playing again. So what I have here is a rare test ad for Persona 4 from, again, we're dating it to be around 2007, potentially. Persona 4 came out in 2008 in Japan, so we're thinking this came out probably a year before the actual game's release. Now, I'm going to show you it. Keep in mind this is a Persona 4 commercial. Now, aren't you glad I told you to keep in mind that this is Persona 4? Because this is definitely around the time that they weren't fully decisive on what Persona 4 tone was going to be. But it's really weird to think of. This panel isn't called Rare Persona Media for nothing. Because I showed you just something, one of the rare things I've ever found in Persona history, I would say. But yeah, this is Persona 4 Evil. Dare I say Diet Persona 4. But yeah, that's a test ad actually. That's what I think fans have at least dubbed it though, because there's no way that this was actually, you know, officially ready to go in an official capacity. Next we have a Persona 5, let me get that up, or Persona 5 commercial. Now, this is one of my favorite Persona 5 commercials ever, so let's get into it.
今日の放課後回答しようぜペルソナ5 9月15日発売
I'm sorry, this commercial is really funny to me. I can't wait to get swatted when I play my very legitimate copy of Persona 5 Vanilla, because I played only Royal, not Vanilla. I thought you'd like that commercial. It's another Persona live-action commercial. They are still making these live-action Persona commercials. One commercial I'm actually not going to note, I didn't want to show, is there's literally a Persona 3 commercial where they spoil the entire game. If you have not played P3, don't actually look into that commercial. But yeah, I hope you like the random woman or the mother with the leak pushed up against the wall because her son got swatted for playing Persona 5, as we all know, a very violent video game. Just as bad as GTA, dare I say. But yeah, imagine getting swatted by the police for playing Persona. I mean, I would, because apparently I can't just download copies of P3P without giving Atlus money. Oh well. Anyways, moving on to the next bit. No, we're not playing this out again. Nope. Alright. Now, we're on to my final bonus option. If you were here last year, you may remember someone in the chat actually brought my attention to a thing called Persona Strikers Club. Or Persona Strikers Club. I actually mispronounced it. It's actually Persona 5 Stalker Club. Now, this one's actually very fascinating. To me at least, because it brought to light something actually very interesting in the Persona community, or it's kind of community driven, technically not, but nonetheless, let's learn about it some more. This is a talk/variety web series about Persona, basically. What this Persona Stalkers Club is actually about. It was posted on Nico Nico, or known I think previously as Nico Nico Doga, which is essentially solely Japanese YouTube. YouTube has a Japanese presence, but Nico Nico's very much more popular than actual YouTube. Yeah, so as for who's hosting the show, it's actually hosted by Tomi Ishimura, who is Hifumi's Japanese voice actor, and Kaiji Mafia, who actually was a writer for the Persona 2 Innocent Sin DLC quest for the PSP re-release that was Japanese only for the longest time till English fans actually translated that, his writing. As for what this show kind of also covers, before I break my rule, this is actually officially licensed. But for the longest time it was marketed as, oh, these are just really passionate Persona fans who want to put on a show, when in reality they actually have their hand in helping assist create Persona. Now, this apparently quote-unquote fan-run show somehow has access to Atlus staff members as guests. This is actually just an official thing that Atlus actually put on for a good while. They've had guests like Hoshino, who was the director for 3 through 5 games for Persona. Soejima, whose art actually influenced that same era of 3 through 5. And we still feel his presence very much today, and he's like one of my personal favorite artists ever, if I could be a nerd for a second. Lotus Juice, who is obviously known for his very awesome rapping capabilities. His English is also immaculate, near perfect. And also Yumi Kawamura, and many, many other guests. Anything relating to Persona, they've kind of been featured in. One thing that's kind of worth noting is that the branding for Persona Stalkers Club got a Persona 5 rebrand around a year before Persona 5 was gonna release. So it was called Persona Stalkers Club V, which is what you'll see the logo in the the right hand of the screen. And it ran that way till the end of its lifespan. So this show kind of ran from around February 2014 to March 2017. But yeah, so this show isn't unfortunately around, but there are, I think, all the official episodes are actually posted on Nico Nico. If you can access the website, definitely feel free to. This show's actually kind of interesting to see. See like Persona get a talk show, basically. Personacon 2026? Yeah, maybe you guys should get Lotus Juice. He actually is really open to do cons a lot. You really just gotta contact his people, and then bam, you can get it potentially. Maybe he could do a concert for us, because he's been doing that a lot more at cons. I say this as I want him to come to my local area, because I want to see him in concert so badly. But yeah, that's Persona Stalkers Club. I'm so glad I actually got to cover this subject though too, and give it the actual right amount of research and attention it deserves. Now, this brings me on to my Q&A. So, any kind of rare media you want to pitch to me, or questions you have on the actual subjects, feel free to fire them off right now, as we're kind of winding down for this panel. You saw my A-Con last year. No, yeah, I really want to see Lotus Juice in concert. I mean it when I say it. Can I ask which rare media is your favorite from this panel? Oh, my favorite. When it comes to not bonus round related, I would say the Persona 2 manga Crime and Punishment. That one's my favorite because I'm a Persona 2 fan. I just don't really post about it a whole lot because I've been really busy, but I would love to post more Persona 2 stuff. When it comes to my bonus rounds, it's a tie between Persona 4 Pachinko Machine and the one rare test that I actually showed you guys for this panel. Have you heard of the Cursed Chia game? I covered it in my last year's panel. The VOD is up in my... I will probably pin the VOD up from last year, but I advocate for you guys, please don't actually go seek that thing out. Actually, I think it should be lost media from now on. I have one exception to preserving media, and it's not the Chie Hot Springs game, because I don't like it. If you do a rare Persona fan media, what would you mainly look for? Oh, okay, interesting. What I would probably look for is things with a lot of group effort from the Persona community. So I wouldn't exactly consider, let's say, for example, Personacon as an example of rare Persona media, because a lot of circles in the Persona community is actually aware of this convention running. Things I would consider rare is something like Persona 5 The Imagining Project, which is a fan-based effort that a group of people made to try and predict what Persona 5 would cover in terms of its subject matter before Persona 5 anything was officially announced outside of that chair advert from 2013. So if you know the chair advert in Persona 5's lifespan, that's how far back Persona 5 Imagining Project actually comes from. Did you do the Persona 2 animated trailers by last year by chance? I actually did cover that, Dragon. They're actually one of my favorite pieces of Persona 2 media, along with the manga I actually showed you guys. It's a very good way to set the tone of Persona 2, so if you want a good, like, kind of conversation to start when it comes to Persona 2 related things, I would deem that trailer to be a good way to introduce someone to Persona 2 without just throwing them head first into the deep end, that is, the gameplay of even thinking of playing Persona 2. Yeah, no, it's definitely a good watch. It's called, Persona 2, shoot, why am I forgetting what it's called? But it is in my it's in my last year's panel, if you want to see more information about that, trailer. It's Another Self, that's what it's called. Thank you so much. This panel has been, like, kind of racking through my brain. It's been kind of blocking out some of my Persona receptors, let's be real. Alright, is there any physical media that you would like to cover, like figurines and etc.? Ooh, that's actually really interesting. I think I almost want to, like, cover the, like, blind figurines, almost. But that's something I would definitely consider maybe covering into, like, rare media, because there's a lot of, like, rare Japanese releases that we don't even get here, like, in the West or in America or a lot of the states here. But yeah, it's very, that's actually really interesting. I'll definitely take note of that, though. Yeah, no, if you guys would love to hear me cover physical media when it comes to Persona, absolutely. I would love to dive into it. I would really like to get my hands dirty with that subject matter. Alright, let's see if I have any more good questions that people want to pitch at me. You know, it would be awesome to cover some of that, though, too. And also may involve me actually having to buy some of the Japanese merch, so maybe I get to showcase them. Who knows? Other physical media definitely can be completely lost very easily. Yeah, actually, like, canceled figurines and stuff, too. I wouldn't mind covering a subject like that, though, because I feel like Persona 5 may have a canceled figurine or two. Maybe not just 5, but just Persona in general probably has some canceled merchandise and stuff, too, because some things always happen and stuff in different official capacities. Unrelated, but since there are no more questions here, how's it going? What have you been up to since the last panel? To be honest, it's been a little bit crazy. It's been hard for me to put out some content, so I'm kind of healing from some bad mental health I had, but I'm glad to be doing a lot better this year, knock on wood, hopefully. I did move, as you've probably seen in my Artist Alley chat and earlier on this channel, but yeah, I am in the process of moving, so I'm so sorry if my audio is horrible. It's not going to be like this forever, but yeah. 100% of 4 figurines. Yeah, no, I think so. Right, it was good. Oh, thank you guys. It really means a lot to me. Shout out to my teammate from Velvet Turtle, who's actually letting me borrow his desk. But yeah, no, thank you. Oh my god. I did not expect to hit like actual validation. Oh my god, you guys are the best. I love. But yeah, thank you guys so much for showing up for this panel, though. Actually, but since kind of like questions have kind of to go to the artist and panelist, Dragon, I'm gonna cry, bro. I'm gonna cry. Don't butter me up so dang much. Oh my god. But yeah, actually no, it was the personas we rare media'd along the way. Let's be real. yeah. Visit me and Artist Alley if you actually want to get some cool artwork, though. With that being said, I'm gonna wrap up this panel and say thank you so much for attending, and have a wonderful, and I mean wonderful, Personacon, because I can't exactly fully enjoy it due to my move, but I think everyone here should enjoy their Personacon. Make some memories, make some friends, win some Hiho coupons, and can use it wisely in the Artist Alley. But yes, thank you so much for attending my panel. I love you guys so much. This VOD will be up shortly. But thank you guys. Bye!